Hey Andrea, how's it going?
It's going okay. How are you?
Good. How was your date today?
It was okay, I guess.
Yeah? What'd you get up to?
I had to go and get some things from Darcy, that boy that we were talking about.
How did that go?
It was okay, I guess.
Yeah.
I when I was driving up there, I said to myself, I was just like, I don't want it to be confrontational, and I just want to get my things and go or whatever. So when I was there, I just let him say his piece, so to speak, and then I was just like, okay, well,
bye then.
bye, because he had my stuff, and I didn't I don't know, he just gave me this vibe like he could set my stuff on fire or something like that.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, he was a little bit crazy. So,
oh, jeez.
On to the next victim, Lindsay.
Yeah. So, how are you feeling about all of that?
I'm feeling fine. Like I'm kind of feeling like, what the fuck was I thinking?
Really?
Yes.
Like just with the whole relationship?
Yeah.
Yeah, because, I remember you talking about Darcy a little bit.
Yeah, well, I only kind of talked about it, I think, the last time that we met.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah. I can tell that crazy. You feel a little bit like...
Well, yeah. I'm just like... Yeah. And I'm going home next week and for a long time, so...
Yeah. How are you feeling about going home?
I'm actually really excited to go home.
That's good.
Yeah, I needed, a break from this island, and I just, I don't know what it is the last, couple weeks. I'm just... For a while there, I was like, oh, Victoria is growing on me kind of thing, but the last couple weeks, I just had this feeling, get me out of here.
Yeah, you just need to go home and refresh, and...
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
I don't know what it is if I just get, island fever, the cabin fever.
I know, I kind of feel like that sometimes, too, where you just, feel like you've been, trapped on this island, and,
Yeah, and that's kind of how I feel the last,
Yeah. And it's hard, too, when you're a student because you don't have a lot of money to go out and do things or, you just kind of get, stuck in, a student routine, which makes it even worse and you feel kind of you're always stressed about school or whatever, and then it makes a negative experience like a guy seem that much worse.
Yeah.
Especially not being around your family or whatever.
Yeah.
I can empathize with you. I just broke up with my boyfriend.
Yes.
And it's kind of a shitty feeling sometimes.
It is.
Even though it's for the best, it's still kind of... I know for me, it's just it's a loss, and it just makes you really self-reflect and look internally and like you said, what was I thinking or, blah, 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 all this kind of stuff, right? Which is a good, sometimes it's good to just, process that, and then it sounds like you kind of learn from your experiences a lot, so you could probably get something out of it and not make it feel like such a waste or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's that.
Good. Well, I can tell that you seem, relieved about it or something.
Yeah.
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 Last time you were kind of, tense about things, and, now you just seem kind of it's done. And,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think the last straw, he just went berserk, and so that just turned me right off.
Yeah.
I you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. It's almost like you saw his true colors, and it's whoa, this could have potentially been something really bad.
Well, yeah, and like I said, it just turned me off, ew, that's gross, that,
Totally. I totally know, yeah.
And he's older, too, and I'm just oh my God, I hope I'm not like that. I'm not like that now, but, I just...
Yeah.
Just makes me appreciate, how just, in tuned I am with myself.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
And the relationships that I have with people, I'm very much able to and I really do try to put myself in other people's shoes and think, what would that be like for it to be in their position or whatever, where I thought that was a kind of a common characteristic, but it is not.
Nope. It isn't.
At all.
I will agree with you on that one.
People say that they do, but they really don't.
No, they don't.
No.
They don't. I hear ya.
So.
Well, so.
That was off kind of on a tangent.
No, that's okay though, because that was part of your day, so it's good to know about that. But it's also good to check in and know that you're okay about things and feeling good. Yes. Good. Well, I guess kind of my plan for today, for our last meeting, is just to kind of review some of the goals that we went over. And last session, we started doing a goal planning worksheet that I want to kind of do the second part of that. And then I'm also just hoping to kind of just like, you know, get some of your thoughts about our time together and like areas that you think you've grown in or areas that you still need to work in and things like that. If that sounds good for you? Awesome. All right. Well, so we started setting some goals, and we did this breaking up like for next week, for next month, next year, next 5 years. Right. So I'm just going to go over those again just to let you refresh your memory. I don't know if you probably know, but.
Yeah.
So in something I want to accomplish in the next week is finishing practicum and school assignments. Right. In the next month is create meaningful memories at Christmas with the family, being really present with them. For the next year, finish school and really make lasting memories again in the summer. And then in 5 years, lay down some roots and find your career path, which I think are great goals. So, what are some obstacles you see in reaching your goals?
Obstacles. I think like my procrastination gets in the way.
Yeah. So
it gets in the way.
School.
It's not that I don't complete my work. I've never not completed my work. I've always done my work.
Yeah.
But I know that I'm capable of much better.
Like quality of work?
Quality of work.
Okay.
But I'm just like in this mindset, well, as long as I pass, which I've always had, and I think, not that I'm blaming that on my mother, but like my mom has never, my mom was never a parent that was demanding of high marks, and she was just like, as long as you pass and get through it. Yeah. And so I think I've really adopted that.
Yeah, like I can kind of just get away with doing this, even though it sounds like you are like intelligent and really smart. So I don't know anything about your school performance, but it sounds like you're capable of getting good grades.
Yes. No, I know I am, and I like. That's the thing that I kind of kick myself too, is because like I know I'm capable of getting like awesome marks, but I just don't. I guess I don't want to. I just procrastinate, and I don't really feel like putting forth like 100% of the effort, I guess, because it's hard sometimes when you're like balancing life.
Oh, for sure it is.
So
I definitely can see. Yeah.
Sometimes things suffer more than others, I guess. So so procrastination gets in the way, and the mindset of as long as you pass gets in the way.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll think of some strategies to overcome that.
Yeah.
What are some other obstacles in reaching your goals?
I don't know.
No?
Money, maybe? I don't know.
Okay.
Like,
money would be one if you're like looking to create memories and stuff. Like,
that's true. Well, yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that has been a huge part. Yeah, of why I haven't. And like I think I said the last time. Like I've been fortunate enough to travel. But not as obviously as much as I've wanted to, and it's because of money.
Yeah.
So
well, that would be one big thing that would get in the way of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about do you see any obstacles at Christmas to like kind of with your creating meaningful memories or anything like that, like with your family?
Me just like going into my child role and like, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just like sleep all the time and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally, yeah.
I don't know what I'm trying to say there, but
how can we say that? Maybe an obstacle would be like not putting in effort.
Yeah.
Does that fit with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on to the next part is the things I will need to do to achieve my goals. So what can we do to kind of make some strategies? I mean, we've worked on the procrastination thing. I didn't mean to sound that bad if I did.
No.
We've worked on that, and I mean, we've made some progress with you, like making some lists,
right,
and like things like
right.
that.
Yeah.
So, do you think that is like one strategy that will be helpful?
Yeah, I need to stick to that.
Like making your own schedule, and I mean, especially for your next semester, if you have 5 classes, like
no, I know
it is going to be like maybe even getting like a day timer and just like
no, I know
seeing every week what's due and kind of plan your week around that kind of stuff.
No, I know.
Because I know that can be helpful, like setting it up, and then every Sunday, like you kind of just like review. Okay, and I don't have class on this afternoon, so I'll do 2 hours of work, or this and that, kind of thing.
No, I know. And I always start like in September. I always start off well, and then somewhere along the line, I just like because I started doing that. I had like an agenda, and I'm writing things out, and then I don't know.
Yeah, it happens.
I've always been like that, though. I've always been a shitty student. I really have been.
Really?
Yes.
You were saying that.
Even in high school, even in public school. I honestly think because even like when I was like really young, I would go and get like help from these. I was part of like I don't know what you'd call it.
Like an EA?
Yeah. Yeah. But it was just like for kids that needed extra help in math or who were behind. Yeah. Yeah, I was one of those kids. I know it's not because I wasn't capable of grasping it. It's just because I hated being in school. I hate being in school.
Yeah. And that makes it hard to be present then if you're doing something that you dislike.
No,
it makes it really hard to be present.
And that has always been my problem. Yeah.
So maybe working on goals around school, maybe that isn't realistic for you. And I mean that in the sense that maybe it's like you can agree to all these strategies, but then if it's never going to get implemented, then maybe that's not a goal that you should be working on.
I know. So, I know. Yeah, and it's weird. I haven't found something that's like that has clicked for me, or that has been, I shouldn't say clicked, that has been long lasting, that's worked for me.
Yeah.
You know
well, it sounds like you still get the work done.
No, so I know.
It's not, maybe procrastination isn't about being the problem of finishing schoolwork, because that's not the problem. Maybe it's the problem because we've talked about before that you get stress and anxiety with your procrastination. Yeah. So maybe that's what we should work on our goals around, is how to, when you're feeling stressed or anxious about school and about your procrastination, that's inevitably going to happen. How can we reduce those behaviors and those feelings? No, I know. Maybe that's more of a realistic way we can go about this.
It's weird though, because when I was at Mount Royal, like doing my 2-year program, I was on the ball about everything. Like, I was a really good student.
Really?
Yeah.
So what's changed in Victoria, do you think?
I honestly think when I was at Mount Royal, because I had this like fear of failing, I guess, or like
Mm-hmm.
it was my second time around with school.
Yeah.
Not that I failed. It was my choice to like drop out of university back home.
Mm-hmm.
But just that, like, well, I tried school once and it wasn't what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
So that, like, fear of failure. So I was like, honestly, I would spend weekends at Mount Royal Library
Wow.
just studying.
Yeah.
What? That's not me at all. Like, at all.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's good. So you have it in you, like
I know that I do. I know.
Yeah,
and that's the stupid thing.
But do you think maybe too that a part of it in Victoria is that you have lots of time and spare time here? That it's like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow when I'm doing nothing, or I'll do it.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Where at Mount Royal, we never really had that.
Yeah.
I feel like. I don't feel like.
Oh no, I feel like at Mount Royal we were there all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not like it is here.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. And I think the program at Mount Royal too, I was constantly learning new things.
Mm-hmm.
And here I just feel like I'm repeating everything that I've learned.
Oh, really?
Just
yeah.
Maybe in a different light. Like,
yeah. So you feel like it's kind of repetitive anyways, and then you know it. And I mean, we've talked about before too, it sounds like you really get your education from your experiences and not necessarily in a classroom setting.
Yeah.
And I know in Mount Royal or in UVic, it is a lot of just like theory and like this and that, which is important to know, but it can be.
It is. And that.
It can be really hard to just like sit in a classroom for 3 hours and soak that in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I don't know. I've just really lost my like passion to learn in the last.
Yeah.
And also too, I think it's because last year or like last winter semester I did that, and then I went into 2 courses, and then I was doing them all summer, and then it's like I had we had August off, and then right back at it again. So it's like I constantly feel like I don't ever have a break or ever have the break of pressure of school. Yeah. It's like this continual thing, and it's like, so I just lose the spark of learning, like, or the interest of learning, because it's like, again, you know?
No, exactly. I get it, for sure.
Not to veer off on what we were.
No, that's okay. Because we can.
About school.
We can.
No, but I think you're right though. That I think that makes more sense. Is that like
to make a strategy on the anxiety
and the stress part. Opposed to like
the procrastination part, because.
I've always been like that, and I don't think I will ever change. Yeah, and I mean,
right, because it works for you. So it's not the procrastination that's a problem. It's the feelings that come after that with the stress and the anxiety.
Because I feel like I've never seen it as sorry, I'm just trying to think right now. Never seen it as I get down on myself because, oh, well, fuck, this paper is due 3 days from now. I should have started this 2 weeks ago, but here I am. Like, I look at it as my method is the wrong method. Yeah. You know what I mean? Where it might not necessarily be the wrong method. That's just how I operate. And maybe I need, and I think to a certain degree, for me to get it done, I need that little bit of stress to get it done.
Yeah, like to light your pants on fire so you do get it done, right?
Yeah.
So...
And like I said, I get down on myself because I see it as my method is the wrong method.
Yeah, which isn't true, because I'm going to tell you right now that 90% of students procrastinate and they don't do the work until the last minute. So it's not like your method is the wrong one. And it's like even the girls who are getting A+ on everything, there's no way they're starting them 2 weeks ahead of time, or
probably some of them are.
Some of them probably, the 10% probably,
Mm-hmm.
but most students are stressed because most students have part-time jobs, or they're doing practicum, or they're doing other courses or whatever.
I know.
So I don't think that procrastination is the problem. I feel like maybe some strategies, and it goes back to us talking about how, like, the feelings only last for 90 seconds and stuff like that. Like, when you start feeling those anxious feelings, or those, like, being worried and stuff like that, just to have some, like, coping skills to kind of calm yourself and self-regulate, so that you do calm down, so that you can sit and work in a space where you're not trying to focus just on the paper, but then you're also thinking, oh, I'm just doing this wrong, or this is shitty, or whatever. It's like, no, I'm producing the quality of work that I'm capable of, and I'm not. So, like, kind of shift your way of thinking.
Yeah, and I also think, too, where I'm living, too, has, a piece, or is a factor in that.
Okay. In what sense?
Because when I was in Calgary, I lived with my boyfriend at the time in a bachelor-size condo, but it was big. But I was like, I can't work. I can't be productive with him in here because he's, like, watching TV or whatever. So I would always go to school.
Yeah. So you would just leave. So you kind of just had that option. Well, it was an option, but you had kind of, like, a motive to leave.
And then I was like, I'm at school. Like, well, what else am I going to do? Like, yeah, I guess I could surf Facebook for, 15 minutes, but that loses its novelty. And I know I'm here to work, so.
Yeah.
But then, now that I live on my own, it's like, well, I can stay at home, and then I get into doing stupid other things, and I'm like, watching documentaries, or I'm like, oh, I'm hungry, go make food. Oh, I'm hungry again, go make food.
Yeah.
Or I lay in bed and try to do homework, and then I get tired, and then I'm like,
yeah. Well, it's good that you can recognize that is a factor, for sure.
Because I'm trying to think, even when I lived with, when I moved in with the girl, when I first moved in with the girl in Victoria, I would go to school.
Oh, okay.
And, like, I wrote most of my papers in the computer lab, actually.
Oh.
So, yeah, I very rarely worked on schoolwork at my place. So I think that's a huge, like, factor in my...
That would be, yeah. I could see that. So...
And my place where I live, it's just small, and I feel like... And I'm very much, like, a person where I, like, just spread out, like, I'll have a textbook in my syllabus and my computer, and, like, spread things out, and I can't really do that in my apartment.
Do you have any other options? I mean, I'm not just telling you. Like,
well, I do. Obviously, I can go to school, but I just don't know why I just don't. Because then I start justifying, well, I have to go and buy food when I'm there, or I start making excuses. Yeah.
So maybe that can, be part of your plan to get school done.
I know.
Decrease those worries.
And I just, like, when I have next semester, when I have a class on a half day, like, I need to go there for the full day and go, if I have class in the afternoon, we'll go to class or go to school at, like, 10 in the morning, and then, do a solid, good, productive 2 hours of work, lunch, and then go to class. Yeah. Or vice versa, if I have a class in the morning, stay in the afternoon kind of thing.
Well, what I get from you is that you are very capable of making, like, what works for you and what doesn't, right?
No, I know.
So it's like you have these solutions in place, and it's just about making the choice and implementing
them. I know. So it's like,
yeah.
That's why I get mad at myself, because I'm like, well, why don't I just go and do it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, I totally know what you mean.
I'm just ranting and raving today.
Well, we have 24 minutes, so that's good.
I know. I'm chatty Cathy.
Yeah. All right. Well, do we feel like those are good goals for school?
Yeah, it's got
Do
me.
you feel comfortable about those and addressing, like, how procrastination isn't the issue? And
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's got me thinking, actually.
well, that's good. That's probably why you've been on a little rant there.
No, I know. Yeah, it got me thinking. Well, like what worked before when I was in Calgary, and what were the things that I was doing before, and
Yeah.
maybe we do need to move in together.
Maybe. Might be good for both of us in that sense.
Yeah.
So I kind of just wanted to address some of the goals that we had, or some of the stuff we went over last time with kind of getting you to think about more of your, like, positive experiences within yourself,
right.
and like that. Because I know we've talked about, like, self-esteem building and not blaming yourself for a lot of these things and stuff. And I wanted to just kind of see how that, like, all soaked in from last time, and how you kind of left feeling that session, or if it's made an impact at all.
Well, we kind of talked about it at the end. I thought it was really good because just the last couple of weeks I felt like I was, like, dwelling on negative things and what I wasn't doing. And so that was a good activity to, like, remind myself that I do have these positive things, and I need to remind myself of the positive things that I have done, and that, like, I'll continue to do, kind of thing, if that makes sense.
For sure.
So
did it make, like, a lasting impression? Like, did you go home feeling better about yourself? Because I know that sometimes people can leave counseling feeling worse. I mean, that's never the goal, but it can trigger other things or whatever. But
no, for sure. No, it just got me thinking. I'm like, because I was giving you specific examples, and, like, about Helen, about my grandparents, and it just, like, got me thinking about my time with them, and, like, it's always been a positive experience with them, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, that's good.
Yeah,
I'm glad to hear that. And did it kind of bring some positive feelings about yourself, like, in yourself?
Well, yeah. Because I just, like I said in the last couple of weeks, and it's, like, just negative things, and in the grand scheme of things, it just makes me think, don't kind of sweat the small stuff, and no matter what, I'm going to get through whatever life throws at me, so to speak.
Yeah, for sure. That's good. Is there any goals or anything that you think that you kind of want to work on around that, like, around your self-image and stuff? Because I know that, like, in session 4 or 3 or something, we kind of talked about, well, your goals about going to the gym and, like, those kinds of things and stuff.
So I got a gym membership, and I haven't been going very often because I've just been a hump on a log, so then it's a vicious cycle. Yeah. Because now it makes me think, well, maybe I should have went and invested that money into, like CrossFit or something, like, like you're doing, like, with kickboxing or something, where it's an actual, like, or just opposed to the gym or whatever, right? So I do need to do that, though, and that's a whole part of, like, me setting up a routine. It's like, okay, this night I'm going to the gym, this night I'm going to the gym, like, and that's the thing, I have no routine in my life. Like, I can wake up when I want to wake up.
Yeah, and it makes it hard. It makes it, and that is a routine in itself, is to slip into the routine of not having structure, right?
No, I know.
And that makes it so hard.
I know, and it's been, it's been bad for my health, because it's like, but I'm napping all the time, and, like, I'm not eating when I should be eating. I'm eating when I want to eat, and like.
It sounds like, though, next semester that you are going to have more of a routine.
Well, I have a lot more to do next semester. So.
Which will probably be, like, hard for the first bit, but then it will actually feel really good to kind of just, like, slip into that routine of needing to be somewhere, needing to do this, needing to do that, right? Like,
I know, really, I think I need that.
Yeah. I feel like this is not going anywhere.
It's happening.
I know, which is good, because I only did a 20-minute clip, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you've done?
Yeah. Oh, I feel like I could start at the 10-minute mark and go to this mark. And that should be good.
As for the, like, final, I don't know what exactly you're supposed to do in
Neither
the final
do I.
table.
That's okay.
Table.
Yeah.
Taping?
What I did want to kind of talk about, though, is, like, I have a few recommendations for, I mean, I'm not wrapping up yet, but a few recommendations for, like, books and stuff that I think that might be beneficial for you to read. I just got this one book. 1 second, please. I actually got it from Cheryl, but I think it would be really beneficial for you to read, too. And it's called The Gifts of Imperfection, and I don't know if you've heard of Brené Brown.
Yes, I have, actually. Yeah.
And she does a lot of TED Talks, which I can also send you.
Yeah.
About shame and stuff like that. And it's called Let Go of Who You Think You're Supposed to Be and Embrace Who You Are, which I think your guide to a wholehearted life. And I think that, like, this would just be really beneficial for you to just, and it's an easy read, so it's not going to take a lot of time. It's not going to be painful to get through, because some books are like this are painful. But just, like, a really good way for you to kind of, like, self-reflect a bit more and maybe connect to some of the things that she's saying and really, like, think about it and hold it in your heart. And then even when you're having moments of negativity, maybe you can grasp some of these things. I know that for me, I often reflect on, like, something that I've read in a devotion or, like, something like that, where it's like if I'm having negative feelings, I can think about that and be like, okay, just remind myself of that, and it kind of brings you, like, to peace and like stuff like that. So I think that this would be a really good book for you to read. I don't know if you'd be interested in it or not.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. And I also have a couple of books, not in front of me right here, but one of them is called How to Be an Adult, which is kind of a funny book in the sense, like, it's like a spiritual guidebook about how to, again, it's the similar thing, like, live a wholehearted life and not kind of dwell on all the things. And, like, there's a few things that I've gotten that are, like, you know, we sound similar in the sense that, like, we dwell on those negative things and, like, well, why isn't life fair? It just isn't. And it's like, once you kind of accept that, then it makes you feel better. Actually, I'm going to grab you a thing. Hang on. And this is also something that you can take and put on your fridge or wherever. And it's called The Givens of Life, the things we cannot change. And so there's 5 things, and it's like, this psychotherapist kind of wrote this up and said, as a psychotherapist working with clients and in my own life, I have seen the same questions and struggles arise again and again. There are 5 unavoidable givens, 5 immutable facts that come to visit all of us many times over. These are, everything changes and ends. So life changes, a relationship starts, and it can end. School starts, and it can end. Homework starts, but there's an end. You know, there's all those things. Suffering is part of growth, and that goes back to what we were talking about last one, where there's 2 kinds of suffering. There's suffering that leads to more suffering, or suffering that leads to happiness. Things do not always go according to plan. Relationships don't always go according to plan. I don't know. Getting a gym membership doesn't always go according to plan. You know? But that's just kind of the part of life. And then here's the one that things are not always fair. Things just aren't. Your friend's getting married. You're not. It's not fair. And that's just the way it is. You know? And then people, this one I think is a big one for you. Just based on your, like, romantic history and what we've talked about with guys, and, like, feeling about how we talked about last time about you feel like you're very selfless when you're in a relationship, and that you give a lot and you would do anything for that person. Well, people are not loving and loyal all the time. And I think, like, once you can kind of, even you talking about Darcy, like, he's not, people aren't always good. Or,
I think that brings up a good point, too, because, like, I think I set unrealistic expectations on guys who I'm with, because I'm just like, oh, I like them, so of course I'm just gonna, like,
Well, and
do
you have
everything.
an expectation for yourself, and you want that to be matched.
Right, and it never is.
Yeah.
So then I end up hurting myself.
No.
You know what I mean? I end up hurting myself because it's kind of unrealistic expectation for them to match my giving or selflessness.
Yeah, and I mean that's like that is your characteristics and your soul and who you are when you are like that.
Yeah,
and
I think too. I have a piece comes into it with about like boundaries too. Like I need to stop doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Like just.
And I think that you are self-aware enough to know that, and I've said this in I think session 2 or something too, that like you are taking these steps, and you said it yourself too. You're taking these baby steps to recognize that you know what, like I lost my train of thought completely. But you are taking steps to kind of
to set boundaries and to say no and like no, that's a good point.
And to stick up for yourself and to have this. Yeah. You have a bar here, and maybe you've lowered it, but then you've realized, no, wait, why have I done that? I need to go back up here again. And it sounds like you did that with Darcy, and you did that with Nick. Like, from what I know about you, you can recognize it and then say, okay, Andrea, let's take it back up here again. Yeah. Because that's what you deserve.
Because I just need to stop going down.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say that. Let's take it back up here again, Andrea. Okay?
Started from the bottom down here.
So, I think that this would be a good reminder for you to have. And, like, then this last paragraph goes on to say, these are the core challenges that we all face, but too often we live in denial of these facts. We behave as if somehow these givens are not always in effect or not applicable to all of us. Mm-hmm. But when we try to oppose these 5 basic truths, we resist reality, and then life becomes a series of disappointments, frustrations, and sorrows. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I want to bring back, like, suffering that leads to more suffering or suffering that leads to happiness, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that I want to kind of leave you with those 2 things to kind of take to, so you can have something to kind of like.
No, that's one of the things that I've wanted to do, but it's been hard, like from moving place to place. I love having like things up on my walls or on my fridge that like are reminders, like positive reminders, right?
Oh, for sure.
Which I haven't. It's hard to do when you're in rentals. You can't just like.
Yeah.
But I want to do more of that, right?
Yeah.
And make things with like quotes and sayings that really resonate with me, or like something like that, right? So,
yeah. Okay. 38 minutes. Well, those are what I want to leave with you, but I just kind of want to do like a review about
an overall
like where we came from with the first session. Probably should have had this written down, but I didn't. Whatever. So we kind of went from you. I mean, it's been a theme the whole time about feeling overwhelmed with like school and life and like relationships and stuff, and you just really opening up yourself to me and letting me know like where you're at with certain things, and your strengths definitely shine through, and I can see them a lot with everything, and I know that you're more than capable of having these solutions and just implementing them is kind of where there's a bit of a struggle, is just the follow through and keeping it consistent and things like that. So I think that the goals that we've worked on and stuff I didn't really summarize, but whatever, are really good and important. I'm just wondering if you have any thoughts, or if you want to let me know how you're feeling today in our kind of end session from the first time we met.
I think it's been really interesting, actually.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think our time together has been really thought-provoking for me, because a lot of this stuff, like I told you before, a lot of this stuff, like our memories and a lot of the stuff that we talked about, I haven't talked or thought about in years, actually. So it's been interesting, and I'm making those connections and my pattern behavior now, and like what has affected me from before. So it's been really interesting, actually.
Well, that's good. I can tell that like there's definitely been a change in you in the sense like I was talking about your relationships with males in the beginning to how it is now. Like I think that even this has been in the works for a long time, but even from September, your ability to just kind of like stick up for yourself and things like that has really started to show through in the last couple of weeks or few weeks and this and that, like just in certain ways, which I think is a really good stepping stone and growth for you. That's definitely, that's caused you a lot of anguish and sadness.
Well, yeah,
and
it's been difficult, right? So,
and I think that, I mean, I'm a firm believer in kind of like, when you start changing things about yourself and changing to better yourself, then things start getting better.
Yeah, to fall into place.
Yeah, and, you know, then it starts feeling like less like life is so hard, and that life starts to make more sense. And I know that, like, it's way easier said than done, and there's definitely going to be times where you're not feeling as strong and stuff like that, but each little half step, an inch forward, whatever, makes you move into that direction of kind of creating that inner strength and that inner, like, just being comfortable and with yourself. And, you know, you said it before, like, you feel sickened that you say that you're, like, with guys or whatever, like, you haven't been single or without a guy for however long, and it's like you're still taking all these little steps towards just finding who Andrea is.
I know. I think I get more frustrated because when I was with James, I thought, like, very much like I had myself figured out. But and now that I'm not, I feel like I'm like 14 again, and I'm like,
who am I? Yeah. Which is why I kind of think that this book is going to really help you in the sense, like, I mean, so many times we're of that age too where you're supposed to be done school already.
Right.
You said last time, I'm at a certain age where I need to have an adult, but I'm still living this student life or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like, who says that? Who says that because you're 25, you're supposed to be an adult fully?
Yeah.
F that.
I know.
You know?
I know.
It's
true.
So I just want, you know, you to know that, like, there's lots of resources out there for you, and if you ever need, like, more, you can always email me and ask, like, hey, Lindsay, because I got tons. Stop laughing.
Okay. No, I know you have lots of resources.
Because I'm a counselor. I'm not a student.
Oh, dearie. Sorry. Okay.
Oh my goodness, we're just going to dick around for the last, like, half hour. Not half hour.
Like 10 minutes.
10 minutes, because what else are we supposed to talk about?
I need lip chap.
No, but this book I'm, like, pretty excited about, actually.
How did you get on the topic with Cheryl? So that's Cheryl's book?
Because last time, in our last session, we talked about shame, and I said that I've watched, like, because Brené Brown studies shame, and she's, like, a researcher about it. So I mentioned it, and she's like, oh my goodness, I have this book that you need to read. She's like, you're going to love it. Like, she has a crush on Brené Brown. And I was like, perfect. I know. Like, seriously, if somebody comes to my house, they'll be like, who is this crazy girl?
Self-help section.
Even Ryan the other day when he came over and he saw that one on my coffee table, like, what is it? I think it's Life is a Game or something.
Yeah.
If life is a game, these are the rules.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, I don't really know if I'm loving this book, but you will be presented with lessons. Yes. There are no mistakes, only lessons, which is true. but like some of this stuff is kind of just a little bit too.
Mm-hmm.
A lesson is repeated until learned.
It's true. I hold that one close.
Yes, I know. We talked about that last time, I think, or we talked about that the other day.
Yeah, we've talked about it a lot.
Yeah, learning does not end. No, it doesn't. There is no better than here. That's actually a really good one. Like, I want to be there. Well, what's wrong with here?
I feel like that's really applicable to our lives here.
I think so too. Actually, that's like, whoa. Okay.
That's like,
Whoa. When you're there has become a here, you will simply obtain a there that will look better to you than your present here.
It's true.
That's true, because that's the whole reason why I friggin' moved from Calgary to here.
I know, and then
because there was better than here,
yeah.
And now I'm here, and there is better than here. Which is not true. Which is why I think that I am so afraid to... afraid isn't the right word. I'm reluctant to move back home in the sense that I'm like...
Because of that.
Because of that reason. Like, nothing has changed in Calgary.
Yeah.
Nothing has changed there for me.
No, it doesn't.
Nothing in me has changed. It's not like all of a sudden... I've moved to Victoria and then it opened up all these doors for me in Calgary, or I have, the love of my life from here that we're moving back to Calgary with, right?
Right.
I would be going back to Calgary in literally the exact same position as when I left.
Yeah. And that's how I've always felt with my hometown.
Yeah.
I'm just going home, like, once a year.
Mm-hmm.
No one changes. Nothing changes. The same people.
Yeah. That is a quote to go on our vision board.
Yes.
There is no better than here.
It's true. We sit there and try. How many times have we justified that?
Yeah.
Or we hate Victoria.
Because really, I mean, we could think of 10 good things that's happened that has come out of Victoria. I know we could.
Oh, for sure. Part of, I think for me too, I just I've moved around so much, and I just it's. I'm just really tired of rebuilding my life because I've done it 3 times now. So
yeah, and I know that for me going back to Calgary, there'd be no rebuilding my life. It would just be slipping back into the old life that I had.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that involved me living at home with my mom because it's free. So there we go. I'm gonna be 28 then and living back home with my mommy.
Hey,
no, and then be the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't want to hang out with Brandy because she has a baby. Just like when I left, I don't want to hang out with Brandy because it's always with her husband, and that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Or me and Chelsea are going out for Thirsty Thursday and getting ripped on a Thursday.
Yeah.
You know? Or just being angry at my high school friends because they're all married and having kids and have these perfect lives. Whereas here, it's like, I literally do not have to think about them at all because I don't even have Facebook, right? So it's like nothing is in my face.
Yes.
But I'm really glad that we read that quote there.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm not going to stay in Victoria for the rest of my life.
No, I don't think for the rest of my life.
But honestly, the more when I was driving out here today, just hold on, I'm going home. Was on the radio. I was thinking of Vancouver, and I was like, I could honestly probably live in Vancouver.
I know. I could honestly live in Vancouver too, and there'd be so many opportunities for jobs there.
Oh, I know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
I don't know. Yeah, Victoria's not going to be my forever. It's definitely not, but my near future for sure.
Yeah.
Because I don't have a reason to leave at this point.
No, exactly. It's not like it's not like we have these dead end jobs or what have you.
Or it's not like I was last December when I literally felt so alone. I had nobody or anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All it took was to have one friend here, obviously you, to make it feel like okay, well this is enough to make it worth it.
No, I know.
I think.
I know.
And we said it all along. We're destined.
I know.
That's why we came here.
Yeah, that's why we moved here, Linz.
Yeah.
It's true.
Well, Andrea, oh my gosh.
49 minutes.
Yeah.
I know.
Okay, well, I'll just wrap this up. Well, Andrea, I'd like to just check in with you right now.
I feel like we've been doing a lot of checking in.
I know. I'm going to check in again.
I know. Oh my god, Jesus. I know. Check it again.
So, I just want you to take a deep breath and just tell me one thing that you appreciate about yourself in this moment.
That I can laugh with tears. I am always laughing. Well, I try to laugh about something.
I know one of the ladies I work with today, the one who I was telling you about, whose daughter suffered with depression and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
She told me that she's like, honestly, me and my husband's goal is to have as much laughter as possible in our house.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that is such a good goal. Like that is
in my opinion, that should be the only goal is laugh.
Yeah,
I know.
No, I know.
I have on my U of Vic notebook, laugh loudly.
I know, I saw that the other day. Yeah. It's true.
It is true.
Yeah.
It's important.
I'm glad. Well, is there anything else that you would like to discuss in 9 minutes?
In 9 minutes.
Then the hour is up and you need to leave.
Oh, can we talk about Nick and me lending him money?
Oh, yeah.
So random. He texted me when we were in class.
Mm-hmm.
And the text was like, "Hey, can I ask you a favor?"
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Okay." And then he's like, "I'm working near U Vic." He's like, "Where you're in class right now? I can come by and pick you up." I was like, "Okay, well, you haven't told me what the favor is here."
No, you can't just come pick me up.
So then when I got out of class, I called him and he was like, "I'm so strapped for cash. Like, I don't even have enough money to put gas in my car." I was like, which I believe.
Yeah. Oh, fully.
Because
he's terrible with money, isn't he?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's because he drinks every night.
And didn't he make you pay half the bills at the restaurants?
Yeah. So, which I'm kind of okay with, whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
It isn't, I don't know, it isn't, because that's not the type of person, or that's not the type of man I want to, have. I want someone to take care of me, which that's a moral issue. Anyways, so I was like, yeah, that's no problem, whatever. Nick is a good guy, he has good qualities about him. Mm-hmm. He just gave me the ring around, and
he's a good guy. He wasn't the good guy for you.
Yeah. Exactly. And like I said, when I ended things with him,
it's the same thing with Ryan.
Yeah, exactly. And when I ended things with him, it's like I can't say anything bad about you.
No,
I just
that was never the case.
Yeah. So he's just like, yeah. So I said, yeah, whatever. And then he came and picked me up and drove me down to CIBC. I don't know what time it was. It was 4 or something. Or 4 or 5, I don't know. And I was like, I'm just curious, why did you come to me and ask me? Mm-hmm. He's like, because he's like, I can't rely on anyone. He's like, you are the most reliable person that I know. Mm-hmm. He's like, I was like, oh, yeah. Then he made that snide comment about sexual favors.
Oh, yeah.
And then I was like, even though I'd rather puke in my mouth, thanks. He's like, that was a little harsh. I'm like, oops, sorry.
So he's going to pay you tomorrow? Yeah. Well, that's
so good. He was just like, oh, I really appreciate it, blah, 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 blah. In the same breath. But I had my Obey hat on, and it kind of made me mad. He was like, that hat is almost identical to the one that my LA Kings hat that I just bought last week. So I was kind of like, well, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm strapped for cash, but I'm not that strapped. And he was like, I'll pay you back on Thursday. So I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
And I just feel bad for him, right? That's the case. But
totally.
Maybe, again, going back to that conversation about boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I need to quit doing that.
Maybe. But like you said, you trust Nick.
I do.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Just maybe not in a romantical sense.
Yeah. All right, I think we can end.
Thank you.
Thanks. Oh, thanks. Thanks for coming in. Happy life.